Okay, this is the tutorial for 2.3. That's graphs when you have an extra c and d added into your trig function equation. So what we're going to do first of all is look at the effect of c on a graph and then look at the effect of d on a graph. And then in the next tutorial we'll be doing more drawing, starting from scratch and drawing a whole bunch of these and going through the technique with that. But the effect of C and D is quite quick to come up with when we use a calculator. So we're going to use our calculator to discover this. And we're going to, first of all, set our calculator up. Let's clear this. And let's just zoom that in a little bit. Okay, so what we want to do is discover what the effect of C is. And that's the variable inside of the brackets, I guess, with the x. So let's just do a window here. Make sure our window is from 2 pi to negative 2 pi radians in the x domain. And in the range, it's from negative 1 to positive 1. And we have our pi over 2 or 90 degree intervals. And then what we'll do is we'll plug in our y here. We'll have a sine function, which I already have there. Let's clear this one. And let's put in sine bracket x minus, okay, and I want to do, let's just go with pi over 2 or 0.5 pi, or 90 degrees if you like. So I'm just going to put in 0.5 and pi. Close the bracket. So that's y minus 90 degrees. So let's graph that. So there's our sine graph. And here is subtracting 90 degrees from it. Okay? Okay, so it's shifted over, but did it shift back or did it shift forward? Right? It shifted forward, right? Because look, this is the original graph here where it went at 0, and then to get it over top of the other one, we have to shift forward 90 degrees. So putting in minus pi over 2 has shifted it to the right 90 degrees. Let's do that again with a, let's go back here. So I went 90 degrees, or 0.5 pi, pi over 2 radians, ahead. Okay, when I put that in there, that's what the minus is. Let's put in 0.25 pi in there instead. So let's go back here. 0.25 pi radians, which is pi over 4, which is 45 degrees. See if we can see the shift a little better. And graph that. There's the regular one. Now we should expect it to shift ahead partway between the, there you go. It's shifted ahead 45 degrees. So the C value shifts it along the x-axis. Now if it's a minus, x minus something, it shifts it to the right. So let's do, if it's a plus in there now. Let's go with the cos graph this time. Okay, so here we'll go to the window, or the y equals, and let's change this one to cos x. There we are. And let's change this one here to cos bracket x plus 0.25 radians. Or 25 pi radians. Okay, so let's do that. And we'll hear enter for our graph, sorry. There's my cos graph, my regular cos graph. And here is the cos graph. And as you can see, it's shifted back. Okay? So the C value has a distinct ability to shift the graph along the x-axis. If it's a negative value, it shifts it to the right. If it's a minus value in the brackets, if it's a positive value, it shifts it to the left. Kind of the opposite of what you would expect. But that's what happens. So now let's clear that, and let's look at the effect of D. So if we just look at the effect of D, and then we'll do a summary here at the end if we have time. Clear? The effect of D, let's do the same sort of thing. Okay, so let's put in cos x there, and let's clear this one. And let's just go cos x in brackets plus 1. So I am now going to graph that. And as you can see, there's the cos graph. Oh, and look at that. You only see part of the other graph. So obviously it looks like it shifted it up 1, right? So let's go to our window and change the window, just to check our results, to a -2 and a +2 max, and a +2 maximum. So -2 to a +2. And let's hit the graph button. So there's our cos button on the 1, cos x. And then here we have, okay, it's the exact same shape, but it's shifted up 1. +1 shifts it up 1. Okay, let's do the same here. Let's clear this. Let's do the same for a negative. So in here, let's use tan x, and let's use tan x here. And instead of +1, let's put a -1 in here. Let's graph that. So here's my tan x graph. And here's my tan x -1. So you can see it's starting down there at the 1. A little harder to see with the tan x, but that's where it's shifted down 1. Okay? So let's see if we can, it's a little harder to see with the tan x, but you see the tan x behaves the same way. Let's clear this, and let's put in sine x and sine x -1. Okay, and we'll graph those. See if the sine x drops 1. And indeed it has dropped 1. Okay, so to summarize, in our little calculator investigation there, let's zoom this out. The effect of C on a graph is it shifts the graph horizontally. And if it's positive, see, it shifts it to the left. And in the brackets of -c, it shifts it to the right. And if we do this effect of D here, it shifts it vertically. And positive D goes up, and -D goes down. Okay, now we'll look in our next tutorial at how to put all of this together into drawing our graphs. Okay, drawing complex graphs that look like this. And we'll do a couple of those.